Wow, this Miami Heat Kyle Lowry trade is absolutely heating up right now, with it now currently being reported that the Heat have discussed a Lowry deal with Toronto, offering up Goran Dragic, Kelly Olynyk, and Kendrick Nunn as the possible framework of a deal, and this is all being reported by Michael Scotto. Now, I think this would have been completely different if it wasn't for what happened with Meyers Leonard. Now, don't get me wrong, what Meyers Leonard did was not exactly great. And again, it's not anything good, as I was just saying. And I'm not trying to make excuses for Meyers Leonard, but I just feel like maybe this has gone a little bit too far. Like, I know some people might disagree with me, but damn, a lot of backlash happened with Meyers Leonard. Like, he's injured and he's still got banned like 10 games, which is, I think is pretty funny. But again, I don't really know. Meyers Leonard, I actually believe, would have originally been in this deal if it was for, if it was for Kyle Lowry. The reason why I think Meyers Leonard would have originally been in this deal is because we obviously know that the Raptors extremely lack depth when it comes to the center and power forward position. And again, another reason is because the contracts actually match up. The reason a lot of people kind of, gave it a weird look on when the Miami Heat actually signed Meyers Leonard, they were like, what are you doing? $10 million for a player that's worth like the minimum. They were like, well, he's definitely not worth that, right? And yes, you would be right. He's not worth that, but the reason they signed him was not because he, was worth the money. It was because they actually signed him to, give him the contract, give him the situation where they could now trade him anytime for the contracts to match up. There are a negative and a positive about signing that mega deal. Now, Meyers Leonard, the extreme positive is you're getting about paid $9 million more than what you would be normally. But the negative is you've just been on the trade block now to every single team in the league, because if any single superstar or whatever or anyone that's got a big contract from any team wants to trade a player, like, let's just say Kyle Lowry's on $30 million, then you're most likely going to be getting traded for him if the Miami Heat decide to make a move. But now, after all the controversy, it doesn't look like Meyers Leonard is probably going to be getting traded, because teams don't really want that, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. Everyone makes mistakes, and most people deserve a second chance, and I think Meyers Leonard's mistake wasn't exactly the most serious thing in the world, and I think it's one of those things of everyone deserves a second chance, and I wouldn't see why you wouldn't trade for him if you were the Toronto Raptors, because again, he's still a quality center, he can play power forward minutes, he is an incredible three-point shot when he's healthy, and he can still put at least 5 to 10 points on any single team with, again, very good offense. Not just that, he's not the worst defender in the world, but he's not great, obviously, so again, it's pretty interesting. But now, because of this, the Miami Heat have kind of had to pay the consequence, because it doesn't look like the Raptors really want Meyers Leonard. They're one of the teams that probably don't believe in a second chance for him. So again, it does look like Goran Dragic is going to have to be thrown the deal, which is a huge loss for the Miami Heat. Don't get me wrong, Goran Dragic is an absolute gun, and some might even consider him better offensively than what, Kyle Lowry would be. Of course, if you're a huge Kyle Lowry fan, you probably just laugh at the statement, you're probably saying those people are silly. But when we look at it like this, they have a case to make. Kyle Lowry, I believe, averages about 18 points per game or something like that. Goran Dragic is currently averaging about 14.6 points per game on 4.9 assists in 27 minutes per game, which doesn't sound, to be as good as Kyle Lowry. But when we get to the playoffs, Dragic usually plays about 32 to 35 minutes per game or so, where he turns it on and he starts to average 20 a game. We saw it in the playoffs last year, and that was the reason that the Heat actually got to the finals and played the Lakers. One of the reasons, of course. So again, Dragic is a great scorer. When he does get the right amount of minutes and he actually tries, he will average you about 20 points per game. The only issue is when we do actually compare him to, of course, Kyle Lowry, who seems to be more consistent overall, but also the fact that Kyle Lowry is a better playmaker, averaging 7.3 assists per game. Very good three-point shot on 40% from 3, aka 39.7 is the more accurate. But also he's a very good defender. Kyle Lowry's been known about this for a long time in his career. He is a really, really good defender. And some people might say he's actually regressed, as he's averaging about 1.3 points per game and 0.2 assists less. But I also like to point out that he's playing about 1.5 minutes less per game as well. So that's probably going to contribute to that little tiny regression, which is not really too much of a thing. But again, when we look at it like that, I'd say if you're giving up Goran Dragic, Kelly Olynyk, who's also on about 12 million, I believe, and Goran Dragic's on 19 million, so that's 31 million right there, and Kendrick Nunn is on about 2 million. I'd say that's a very, very good deal for both teams. I don't think a first-round pick needs to be added into this whatsoever. I think if you're the Toronto Raptors and you can get a very nice role player in Kelly Olynyk and Goran Dragic, and you get, you know, a second-round pick and a nice young player in, well, 2 second-round picks probably, and Kendrick Nunn, how can you deny that for a player that's going to be expiring and might actually leave to go to, like, Philadelphia or something like that? Like, I mean, look, Kendrick Nunn, or you bring in a young guy, and Kendrick Nunn, who's averaging about 14 points per game, can come off the bench and do, you know, a pretty good thing. You bring in Goran Dragic as well, who's an extremely talented and good off-ball player. Would be great with Fred VanVleet. Both can play off-ball, and both can be, you know, the shot creator if they need to. That'd be a very, very good duo. Plus, they're, you know, a very, very bad depth at power forward and center right now would finally be solved. Right now, the power forwards and centers, they have Pascal Siakam, Chris Boucher, Aaron Baines, and I guess OG when he sometimes goes and plays there. But yeah, that's really all they have. Like, I mean, Aaron Baines is not going to be on this team again next year. OG needs to be playing more natural small forward, and Chris Boucher is very just good at center. You need a backup power forward, and I think Kelly Olynyk can come average you about 5 to 10 points per game as well as your backup power forward. But if I was them, I'd also be calling about Meyers Leonard. I think that Meyers Leonard, you could potentially re-sign him, and I also think that he adds some depth at center. And I'm not saying he's necessarily better than what Aaron Baines is, but you definitely wouldn't have to pay him as much. And plus, he's probably going to do a better defensive job than what Aaron Baines has done this season, which has been pretty horrible, I might add. So again, it's going to be extremely interesting to see how this is all going to go. Of course, I think Kyle Lowry to the Heat would be cool. I just think the Philadelphia 76ers and them possibly trading out like Danny Green, etc. is probably going to be the favorite, honestly. But I think that Miami Heat deal is honestly better in my eyes. But of course, I'd very much like to hear all of your thoughts and opinions on this down below. Do you guys think the Miami Heat should go ahead and trade for Kyle Lowry? Do you guys think they should go and trade for maybe some other players? Again, I definitely really like to know all of your thoughts and opinions on this down below. But of course, don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel and my IRL/Long channels. Don't forget to check out my podcast as well if you haven't already. Links for them are, of course, in the description down below. But as I was saying, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.